I'm Nancy Holeman. I'm the director of the Texas Alliance of Child and Family Services that represents private organizations that contract with DFPS to provide services to the children in their care. I'd like to speak to issue 3, the risks and challenges in reforming or restructuring the foster care system. First, I think we need to acknowledge that any time we restructure a service delivery system, there is risk that's going to be involved in that change. But I think we also have to acknowledge that under the current service delivery system, we have been unable to manage the development of resources where they're needed for children. And under the current contracts and payment system, we're not able to put the kinds of performance outcomes in contracts that we would like that would improve outcomes and quality for services for children. Foster care redesign is about trying to address both those issues in a single model. Regarding the staff recommendations requiring DFPS to develop a long-range implementation plan for the foster care redesign, we support that in part. We think directing the department to develop a long-range implementation plan would be very helpful across the state for communities to prepare and do their own strategic planning. Our concern is with the recommendation that we delineate in statute roles and responsibilities in case management under the new model. As we move through implementation and we transfer more authority to contractors to work with families and to get paid under a case rate, we believe those roles and responsibilities are going to continue to need to be examined, both for duplication of effort, what the cost is involved in that duplication of effort, and the inefficiencies it might present to delivering faster permanency for children. So we'd like to keep that out of statute at this stage. We haven't even fully implemented one catchment area to evaluate those pieces. The other issue I want to touch on is the recommendation that we have a thorough cost and performance analysis before we proceed. There is going to be we are suffering from not having adequate funding in this project. And I'd like to point out, though, that we're hoping that's addressed and understand that investing in the reform system, addressing those costs, it would be the first time we'd be attaching that investment to an outcome-based system. So I think that's really an important distinction to recognize when we're looking for investment here. It's an investment in change that is an improvement to long-standing issues. Also, I just want to point out that each of these catchment areas are very diverse, both in terms of the resources that are existing, the challenges they face. We learn as much out of each catchment areas as we do the steps within each catchment area. So I would argue that continuing to roll out a similarly sized catchment area, the element of risk that would be added to that is very slight in relation to the benefits and additional data we might gain from that. I have written testimony that also presents some recommendations on strengthening enforcement in regulated care.
Great. Thank you for being here. Thank you to this entire panel. Now,